Hey guys, welcome back. It's just me again, and we are going to continue going through our two patterns for our rules applied to um, our coordinate plane. We're going back to ordered pair, coordinate plane, and our line graph and plotting. We're just adding to it all the time. Yesterday, we went through following our patterns and applying the rules, trying to figure out what the pattern is so we can apply the rule, and figuring out exactly what the rest of it is. I'm going to show you another one today. We're going to use one of the same ones that we used yesterday as a review really quick. Let me get this, share this. Hopefully you're seeing everything okay. I'm still okay. I think we got it. Okay, there we go. This is the one we were talking about yesterday with trying to use with our line graphs, but we were talking about applying a rule and using that rule to continue your patterns. Okay, actually we did this one. This is the one that we were working on, where you had to figure out what the pattern was and to see if you could continue the pattern. That's what we're going to continue with today. It's going to take you a little while to figure some of these out. So I wanted to make sure that we review over it again just a little bit. And here's a really, really super small, simple one to help you go over what we did yesterday with figuring out that pattern up there. That one was a little bit longer, but I think when they show you more numbers like that, it probably gets a little bit easier because you can follow them. Here's a real simple one. Okay, let's see. I already put them in here. We have our X and our Y. If you start out with zero, and if the rule is add 2, how simple is that? You take 0 and you add 2. So that means this one is 2. Now, let's say you're starting out with 2 instead of 0. If you're starting out with 2 and your rule is add 2, well, then you have 4 because 2 plus 2 is 4. That's how simple it is. You just take your rule, you apply it to your number, and you may have two different rules for X and Y, but you still do it the same way. For example, what if I said X had a rule of add 2? Would you be able to continue to the next number? Well, of course, it would be 4. But what if I said Y had a different rule? And Y, if I still left the 2 and 4, if I said the rule for Y was add 1 or add 5, you would do the same thing starting off with your first number 2 and add that rule to go down for your Y. I'm going to show you a couple more. This is one. Here's one. All right. The rule for X in this one, this is Maurice and Terrence, by the way. They're going fishing. They like to go fishing. So they're going to go out for a couple days of fishing. Only 2 days here because it says the end of the day 0, and that's not even the first day. The first day and the second day. Maurice is going to go fishing, okay? And he starts off obviously with 0. His rule is going to be add 2. His rule is add 2 for Maurice. If he starts off with 0 fish and your rule is add 2, well, you have 0 plus 2 equals 2. And he has 2 fish at the end of the first day. If we continue Maurice's pattern and he starts catching more fish, which any fisherman wants to do, then we're going to apply the same rule. Now he has 2 fish, but his rule is to add 2. So the next day, he has 2 more, 4 fish. So at the end of day 2, Maurice has 4 fish. Let's look at Terrence. Terrence starts off with 0 fish, of course. On the first day, he has 4 fish. He caught 4 fish at the end of the first day. At the end of the second day, he caught 8 fish. Now, if you notice, I didn't tell you what the rule was. If I gave you Terrence's numbers of fish, he had 0 fish to start off with. He had 4 fish at the end of the first day. He had 8 fish at the end of the second day. Could you figure out what the rule would be for Terrence? His rule would be plus 4. He started off with 0. You added 4 on the first day. He caught 4 more fish on the second day. So his rule is plus 4. So over here, Maurice has a rule of plus 2. And over here, Terrence has a rule of plus 4. Okay? That one was, again, a nice, simple, easy one that I thought would be great to start off with. And yes, they are going to get just a little bit more difficult and just a little bit longer, but I'm going to help you through all of these. That's not a problem at all. I'm going to help you through them, okay? I'm going to show you another chart to go through, just to make sure that you're okay with adding the rules to what we're working with, okay? We have a given set of numbers in this chart where we have 1 to start off with, and we have 3, then we have 5, and then we have 7. Our rule is to add 2. Okay, we start off with 1 over here. We're going to add 2, and we get 3. That's easy. 1 plus 2 is 3. Let's go to the next number, to 3. We add the same rule to this one, and we say our rule is to add 2. So our next number over here, 3 plus 2, is going to be 5. Let's go down to the next number, 5. If we go down here to our 5 and our rule is to add 2, then our next number is going to be 5 plus 2 equals 7. Now we go down to the next number, 7. We apply the same rule to the 7. The rule is add 2. 7 plus 2 equals 9. Okay? Very, very, very simple. Now, my next question to you about this, if we look at this as our X and we look at this one for our Y, it would be really, really, really simple to go ahead and plot them and looking at them as our ordered pair. You would have 1 and 3, 3 and 5, 5 and 7, and 7 and 9. I'll show you exactly what that looks like right here. I tried to make one for you ahead of time so I could show you that how simple it was to follow these type of charts. Remember, you want to always chart your data, and now we're just applying rules to get our data. Once we have it, we have our X and we have our Y. Going back to this chart, the first one is 1 and 3. 1 and 3. The second one is 3 and 5 for our ordered pair. 3 and 5. The next one is 5 and 7 for our ordered pair. 5 and 7. The next one is 7 and 9 for our ordered pair. 7 and 9. Already plotted. And then all I did was simply put a line through them, and there you go. You have your line graph. Okay? The next one we're going to practice with, and we're going to practice with just this one more, and then I'm going to have you guys practice on some other ones. And I do have another video that we're going to show a little bit later on to help you as well. But let's look at this one. We have rules for 2 numerical patterns, just like we've been doing. Pattern X says we have to add 1. Pattern Y says we have to add 5. We have different parts to this, and I'm not going to do all of them to go through, but I just want to go through a couple of them with you step by step so that to make sure that you are doing well with following the patterns, okay? Let's start off with the first one. Part A says use the starting number 0 and write the first 5 terms for pattern X. Pattern X says add 1, start with 0. That sounds super easy. Okay, here we go. Part A says we start with 0. We start with 0. And our pattern says add 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. Okay. Now, if we continue the pattern, we continue to add 1 with each one. 1 plus 1 is 2. Continue the pattern. 2 plus 1 is 3. Continue it again. Okay. Remember, we're just following the pattern for X, which is add 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. We could keep going with this one because that's just way too easy. 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. I don't need to go that far, but you get the point. All we're doing is starting with a given number, 0, following for X with the rule. And X says add 1. So that's all we do. Start with your number and add 1 each time. Now, let's try it for Y. Y, we start with 0. And Y's pattern says we have to add 5. Y says to add 5. So we start off with 0. We add 5 and we get 5. Okay. Continue the same pattern. Just add 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. Continue the same pattern. Add 5. 10 plus 5 is 15. Continue the same pattern. Add 5. 15 plus 5 is 20. Continue the pattern again. For following for Y, add 5. 20 plus 5 is 25. Okay, I think you get the point. It really is easy. Don't let it confuse you if some of the charts seem complicated, because they might give you a missing number and you have to just continue the pattern and fill in the number. And we'll work on one of those a little bit later on. Let's look at the next part of this. The next part for part B says use the starting number 0 and write them for Y. We already did that. I went and did that right away because I wanted you to see how easy that was. So even though it looks like there's a lot to this problem, you can see there really wasn't, and it really is that simple. Okay, I'm going to have you guys go ahead and practice some of these in your practice file. Okay, and if you have any problems, just go ahead and let me know.